I think the most important bit is to do two things. It's to help people realize that the AI won't take their jobs, but it's the people using AI that likely will, for now, within the next 2 to 5 years.
We're going to have two types of persons in this world: people who are already ahead of the game and people who are behind the eight ball. Those who are ahead of the game are seeing that every day there's new innovation. The AI era is here. It's not going anywhere. And once people start to get their hands on it and they start to use their imagination, they are creating some really, really, really amazing work. But we do have persons that are resisting, and that are businesses that are not adapting, or who are not really, really using the technology to its fullest extent. Case in point, most people think that just automation is AI. There's a difference. AI can help automate, but AI is not automation all in itself. Automation is different. Automation can save you time, but AI is totally, totally, totally different and unique. I'm a part of a group called Faith Tech, and we are having a hackathon in October, in the end of October, because we are looking to create technology to help churches to stay up and with innovation and stuff. I'm one of the founding board members in New York City because it's just that important. And growing up religious Pentecostal church, where we thought the TV was the devil, we know that there's going to be a lot of detractors in religious circles. If you're listening and you are religious and you think that this is the 777 and this is the mark of the devil, no. God has used humanity to build innovation, as he's always had. When Noah built the ark, that was innovation. So just look at it that way. So if you're listening and you're a small business owner, or you don't understand how technology or how to keep up with what's happening, this episode is for you, because we're going to give you some tools, tips, and tricks. I woke up this morning and I was on someone else's podcast, and they started breaking down one the clips, and here I am tagged in this post, and I'm like, oh wow, I forgot I even said that. Because I've been championing championing this message for about a year now, and it's not going to die. I think we have another about a year and a half that you can still get on board and be one of the thought leaders in this AI era, this AI revolution. That's what I'm going to call it now. This AI revolution, and this revolution is being televised. So my name is NaRon Tillman.
Love it.
This is Walk in Victory, where we sit you at the feet of the masters and we have conversations to help you evolve your life, whether it's in business or mindset shifting or finances or whatever it is that you are into. And today our master is Marine. Marnie. Sorry,
Marnie.
sorry I messed up your name, Marnie. Thank you
That's
for
okay.
joining us today.
That's right. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be in a room with another AI, I want to say expert, but an AI thought leader.
Well,
Very
see,
excited.
this is the thing, because everything is happening so fast that we can't even say expert, because tomorrow we're going to be dumb again about this whole AI situation.
Yeah.
Like, I finished my book and I'm just doing the editing process. And my book was showing how the subconscious mind and AI agents are similar. And the term that I was using at the time was prompt engineering. I think I might be, yeah, prompt engineering, and now it's context prompting. So it wasn't prompt engineering. Yeah, but now
Mm.
they changed the term to context prompting. So every day something new is happening. How are you keeping abreast
Mm.
with the daily updates, and what are you telling your community?
Good question. I have kind of my trusted sources that I follow along with. So I've probably got maybe a handful of podcasts and a handful of newsletters that I try to keep up to date with. I just kind of stick to my lane in terms of business use cases. And I think about it from two perspectives. I think about it from a which AI tools or operating systems are amplifying the human intelligence. And the other aspect is which AI tools or operating systems are allowing creativity for a business to be creating new products or services that can make more impact. And as long as I kind of keep those two, thought patterns and pillars, I guess, of in mind, then I think that helps reduce the overwhelm because, something will pop up on my YouTube and it will be like, NaN is dead. This is what you need to do instead. And I think, okay, will I need to know that for amplifying the human in the loop, especially because I know there will be job loss. But I think the most important bit is to do two things. It's to help people realize that the AI won't take their jobs, but it's the people using AI that likely will for now, within the next, 2 to 5 years. But also to think that, the Gen Alpha, who are 2010 to 2013 born, 64% of their jobs don't exist yet, which means we're heading for a massive transformation. So I think it's our job, if we're leaders in business and leaders in the AI space, to be thinking about, okay, well, what do I need to know about how AI is being used within a business situation that's going to allow me to be there and help guide, those coming into the workforce of which their job doesn't exist yet, right? Or those in the business space that are creating these jobs in the first place. So yeah, I kind of just, it helps me with the overwhelm to just, whenever some type of noise comes in about AI, I just think, is it going to go to any of these two paths for me? And if it is, then, I go down the learning rabbit hole and I also implement. It's really, really important. I will not be sharing any information of things that I don't know if I haven't implemented it myself, because we know that, someone says, oh, AI can do this for you. And then you do it and you're like, no, it can't, it's not quite there yet. So it doesn't matter what magical prompt you've given it's just not there yet. So, yeah, I just make sure that I'm learning and implementing. And then in terms of my community, it's just kind of market research. Where are they at? Because, I just literally did a presentation before coming to here. So I was a little bit late. And at the end of the day, the presentation was for coaches and consultants in business to business marketing. And they should be up in the know, but they're not up in the know. And some of them are burying their head in the sand, yet they're in the marketing space, which I think is the biggest transformation, AI transformation space, if you ask me. So I just have to remember that I'm in a different kind of level to them, and they're looking at me to help guide them through without needing to know everything. So I just have to think about when I kind of, slightly put in things. I can't give them everything. I can't learn something new and go, oh, did you know that Zapier can now do this? Or did you know, now that stop using ChatGPT Midjourney and go and use, Nana Banana on Google. Like, I can't keep twitching and changing all the time for my community. I need to create the workflows, create the processes for them, and then go, okay, here is a potential, AI powered workflow for you if you want to try it, and this is why you might want to try it. But if I have my community just thinking, try this tool, try this tool, try this tool, they're not really getting anywhere,
It's
in my
so many
opinion.
tools, right? Like I like Google Gemini,
Same.
but I settled with ChatGPT, and I
Mm-hmm.
had both pay subscriptions on both. Just to Google to me was I found a groove with Google, but then went out ChatGPT. I found a group with ChatGPT, and I think both having both, because they both do something unique. It's hard to explain, but you can see the difference. But I had to settle in on one, and the reason why I had to settle in on one, and we can talk about this, is because I wanted to be able to understand the one platform. It's like, in order, because there's going to be more updates, there's going to be more coming out, and I can't keep up with everything. But if I can master one thing, I can still tell someone this is how you can use it over here. If you like Google Gemini, you can still do these techniques. But if I'm all over the place trying to learn the behind the scenes, the new updates and all that stuff on all of these platforms, it's not going to be beneficial. I can't keep up. What are your thought processes? But I do
Absolutely.
like the fact that we're still in the part where everybody's competing and everybody's trying to one up each other, because it helps the market, right? It helps the market space. It keeps the price low. I believe in 2 years now they're going to price people out. There is going to be for certain, because someone is going to take the foothold or the stronghold. I believe they're going to be ads in the middle of of all of this stuff. They're just going to it's going to change. Right now is a great place for learning. And you said something, and I'm sorry for giving this a long answer. I'm just excited about the topic, so excuse me. But you said something that even in your presentation, we think because we're getting updates and we're getting emails and we're reading and we're learning that everybody's doing the same thing. 90, 85 to 90% of people just don't know what's going on. When you go and make your presentations, are you surprised that thought leaders, business owners, coaches are not really in the loop?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's three or four parts to that question, but
So,
yeah, I am. No, no, that's fine. I definitely am still shocked at how many people just are using AI very, what I call lazy. And it's not their fault. It's just that we've been given this technology and there's really no one out there kind of explaining how to use it properly. And what I mean by lazy, I mean by doing a couple of things. One is not customizing their AI, not giving it custom instructions, not giving it an extra knowledge base, not using projects, not adding any human domain expertise to any of their content creation. They'll ask an AI to do something. They'll probably sometimes even, maybe use it as a glorified Google, and it won't give them the answer, and they'll think, why not? And you're like, we've never not given enough context. Have you added it, have you uploaded any documents, have you given it any custom instructions? Like, you have to think that we've got this amazing technology, but we've got to also be able to contextualize what we want to use it for and how we want it to be able to produce, or even ask it what it can do for us. And I think I'm really worried about the AI training data, because AI, all the data it's trained on was from all the human knowledge it had access to. But now it's getting access to AI generated
mm,
knowledge, because it's humans that are asking AI for this knowledge, but they're not adding any human domain expertise. And I say human domain expertise is your knowledge, your experience, and your perspective. So you're not adding any human domain expertise to that. And then you're putting it back out there for people. So the AI is only learning on the AI knowledge without any human, in the loop in adding anything. And I just, like, I cringe at that thought, because I think, gosh, what about my children who are like 4 and 8? Like, when they get a little bit older and they have AI learning, AI tutors, and they've got AI agents doing a lot of things for them, and they're talking back and forth. How are the AI trained on all the AI content that us right now that we used because we were lazy users and didn't add our human domain expertise? And that's what really worries me, actually. So to answer that question, I am really shocked that people aren't understanding that this artificial intelligence is there to amplify our intelligence, and we have to collaborate with it. We have to keep going back and forth with adding our human touch to it. And the quicker we can do that as a society, I think the better place we're going to be in. And I think that comes from a mindset shift of, can AI collaborate with me to do the things I want to do? Like, it doesn't have to be a job task. It could be anything. I want to replant my garden. Can AI collaborate with me to do this? Can it amplify my intelligence? And it's that simple mindset shift that if I had the magic pill to be able to, make everybody take it, send it to everybody, just take that pill and have that mindset, I think we could do even more amazing things and potentially not have all of the AI slop that we have out there at the minute. So that's to
Yeah.
answer your first question, I think. But what I did want to say about one of the things that you picked up is when you talked about where the AI is going, and you said, there'll be one kind of company that takes a hold and there's AI ads coming. 100% they're all coming. If we looked at Bing, they were the big thing before Google come on board. And then, so ChatGPT we know is the big thing before Google. Although if you haven't tried AI Studio, it's free in Google,
Yes.
Google AI Studio. So much. You can build apps, you can get images, it's just phenomenal what they give away for free. And I think Google potentially could be that stronghold again, maybe, or maybe there's another player coming. But the sad thing is we will have ads. And if we think about social media, this is not from my words. I'm going to quote Barack Obama here because I saw him live last week in London at the O2. And it was a phenomenal kind of keynote, I guess, or question and answer that he had. But one of the things that he brought up was it used to be called the Facebook, right? Because he was the first digital president, and it was called the Facebook. And it was literally like, talking and socializing to people. And then the minute it got monetized, it completely changed how we used social media. And unfortunately, we will go there with generative AI, large language models. We will go there. There will be ads. And I don't know. And, I'm trying to get around people that do know. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I really know that it will change the way we use AI, like we use these large language models, and I don't think it's going to be for the best. And I'm a little bit worried because I feel like we can't even keep up anyway by using it, what I think is ethically by adding in our human domain expertise. So I am really, really worried about it, if I'm honest, and I would love
I
to hear your
think
thoughts.
that once that does happen, it's going to open up to the wild, wild west. People are going to look to monetize. Like now, me and my friend, we text each other all the time. These ads that be on Facebook, and we call it fake book. And people they'll say such and such died, and as AI gets better at generating stories and taking them and taking my picture and making it into an image or to a video, it's going to get worse. So the social platforms are all going to be AI generated. Again, there's going to be no human, like you said, and I didn't even think about that, no human feel. So we're not even going to know we're not going to be able to distinguish what's truth from what's fiction. And that's going to be a cause for pause. As our youth and young adults get older, they're going to they're not going to understand how to distinguish. They're not going to really understand how to research. And imagine your collaborator is a computer. We're going to have children that just are going to be taught through computers.
Yeah, but our children are taught through
Anyway,
influences at the
yeah.
moment anyway.
So how do
Like,
we and
you
this is
know,
why I'm saying this is so, because we don't have the answer, but I think this is a great conversation. This is why I'm saying to thought leaders, whether you're a Muslim or Hindu, don't sit back and say, "Oh, they're taking off." Be at the table, so as these models are being developed, your fingerprints can be on it. Once the train has left the station, it's all you can do is write on the side of the train. They call that graffiti, right? but but if you're in the developing process, you don't have to be graffiti on the side of the train. You can be an engineer. You can have your stuff inside, so that your community doesn't get lost, so that your message doesn't get distorted, so that the history doesn't get changed. because we still need the historians telling the story. And I think that that's what you're saying, right? We still need people in there saying this is how are going to develop the answers when people are looking for the questions. We're not going to allow AI to develop the answers because AI can create their own answers. They call it hallucination, right? so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so, what would you say to thought leaders now, like as you're going out and you're 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 doing what I want to do. You're going on large stages. You're talking to people, and how important is it for you to tell them to tell their stories, to make sure that their stories are into the machine?
Well, there's two elements to that. The first one is I say, be the lighthouse, be the person that shows how you are authentically using AI to amplify your intelligence, because
Yeah.
monkey see, monkey do. And if you are leading the way and you're saying how you're allowing it to help you create this free like this website, or how you're doing it to be able to create, a platform for a charity, like show how you're using it for good, show how it's amplifying you as a leader, like be the lighthouse from that. And then keep promoting what I call the AI literacy pillars, right? Which is
Mm.
security, so making sure people aren't using these large language models either for, a therapist or a medical diagnosis. I mean, it's the start, but it can't be the end. It's not the final answer. They're not putting any, secure information in there, or information that shouldn't be used. That's security pillar. And then the next pillar is, encourage that mindset shift for people to add, to be constantly using the AI to add their own human touch. Teach your AI how to be human, how to respond like you as a human. So it's the mindset shift. And then that third pillar for me is the customization of, creating your AI model. The fact that you chose ChatGPT and stuck with that is great. And I'm presuming you've got customization, and I'm presuming you've got projects here, there, and everywhere with custom instructions and knowledge base. And the workshop I just did was on creating a second brain, right? That's what we worked on, creating a second brain for your AI to be your thought leader. So yeah, it's there. I kind of just say be the lighthouse, and try and educate people on these three AI literacy pillars as the start. And then yeah, I just think the more of us that can share this message about how we are using it, the better it will kind of, dominoes effect, hopefully. And also, if we see someone doing bad with AI, when I say doing bad, it's so, such a like schoolyard thing, doing bad, like, but like tell them off. Like, if they've gone and done a deep fake on someone, just say, how do you feel if
Mm.
someone did a deep fake on you? Like, we're humans, we want to be seen and heard, and we have a right to be treated equal and fair. And, like, if we can sit back and say, oh, people aren't using it right, or don't, we can sit and hear somebody. I mean, just yesterday in an interview, mind you, I had somebody say to me, I created a GPT to help them write a pitch for a sales and marketing that I needed done as an interview. And I said, oh, which part of the GPT created this? Because and she said, oh, I didn't use it. And I said, oh, okay, but the brief was to use this AI. She said, yeah, but I don't use AI because it makes me dumb. So so we have to pick up people that have this
Yeah.
mindset, because basically we're not doing them justice. We're basically telling them, you keep riding the horses while the rest of us are in our cars, or you keep using the white pages while the rest of us are on the internet, or you keep using your Nokia while the rest of us are using our iPhone. Like, we just need to speed people up on that process, and that sometimes means standing up and saying what we think and why we think it and how we do what
It's
we
funny
do.
that you said that because gas prices are going so high. I told my son, he turned 12 Sunday. I said, we're gonna have to go get a horse. He said, he said, all we got to feed it is hay. So
Got to pick up its poo. Did you know in New York that used to be one of the highest paid civil servant jobs, was pick up the horse poo?
so it's what's funny is
It
that
was.
We have farmers crying now because no one wants to work the farms. Or they, our country is going through whatever it's going through, and they have nobody to work the. They have no one to work the farms, right? And I'm watching these men crying like nobody want to work. I would have to shut the farm down. I'm like, how about you go work the farm? Like then, instead, I
Yeah.
can't work the farm. I'm gonna just shut it down. Like no, how about you go out there and work the farm? Like a thought. So the same thing with
Yeah.
the young lady that the reference that you gave, not wanting to use the GPT and the whole projects thing coming out. Can you explain two case usages that projects can be used for? Because a lot of people, again, they see the whole, it says deep thinking or whatever, and they get confused. And when ChatGPT 4 moved to ChatGPT 5, although all of the features and benefits were good, and the developers like, well, we got all these things. The people, the end user, were like, whoa, 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 whoa. We wanted to go back to 4 because we just learned how to use 4. And 5 was much better. They like, no, we don't want better. We want
Yeah.
we want to stay
Yeah.
where we're comfortable. So the projects came out a few months ago, and people don't really understand how to use it. So if you can give us just one or two case usages that projects is good for.
Yeah. So I'll just
Mm-hmm.
back it up a little bit to say projects are now available on the
Mm-hmm.
free version, which has only been just recently. You had to be in the paid version before that. And if you think about it as levels, you've got your basic chat down here, which the memory has massively increased. And that was one of the big things from the ChatGPT 5 model. And that's why people struggled, is because it remembered all its chats. So if you think you've got some dodgy chats in there, just go and archive them. So spend some time archiving your dodgy chat. But your level one is your basic chat in ChatGPT, and then the level two is creating a project. And the project has a knowledge base and it has custom instructions. So you call it something, and I'll give my examples in a second, but you add in what I call a second brain. So you give it more information about what you need it to know to in order to do the custom instructions you give it. So I've got about 28 of them, if I'm honest, but
I
I'll
thought I had
start
a
with
lot.
some, I'll give a broad, yeah, I'll give some broad kind of examples. I actually have a couple of personal ones. So my personal one is our family meal planner, and it's got all the information about my children, what they like, what they don't like, all of the information about, what we like to cook with. We have a Thermomix, we, have an air fry, we have I love my microwave over like a stove, just things that's the information we've given it, right? And then the custom instructions are like you're an expert family meal planner that is able to be able to create plans that allow the children to have a variety, but also they don't like, making sure I don't make anything that they don't like. And I often will take a picture. Well, first of all, it will give me like my weekly plan and the shopping list and all those things. And then often I will go into the fridge and I'll take a picture of my fridge and of what's in it. And then I go to my family planner and I basically put that picture in and go, oh gosh, I don't no idea what ingredients I've got here. Help me make dinner tonight, right? And it's done. So that's a perfect example. Could I do that in a normal chat? Yes. Would it give me meals that my children don't like? Yes, because I've not given it that second brain, and I've not said and it will give me a meal that takes 45 minutes to cook, but I only want it to take 30. So that's an example. From a business perspective, I actually have something called my board of directors. So my business isn't big enough to have board of directors, but I'm very aware that it's such a good process to be able to report to board of directors and to have extra feedback, like expertise feedback, and that accountability is really important. So I've created my own board of directors, of which I've got some of my kind of business mentors that I like to look up to. Stephen Bartlett's one, Mel Robbins is one, Oprah Winfrey's another. And I put information about them and their businesses and their DISC profiles as well, which is really important because that's how they would respond, and the types of answers they would give is often related to their DISC profile. And then I'm checking in. Here's our 2, 3, 5-year business goals. Here's our KPIs for a quarter, where this is where we're going to check in for this week. And, I'm using that project to help me in business. And then if I think about kind of me and my content that I get out there. I have a thought leader advisor, and basically my knowledge base that I'm giving it is all my podcast transcripts from the guesting I'm doing. I'm doing all my LinkedIn posts, my LinkedIn articles. They're all the stuff that I do raw myself, and my newsletter that I write every week. And then all of that content that I write goes back into my thought leader so that I can pick up where I came up from. And then if I learn something new, a really amazing tool, you probably use it already, is called Notebook LM. And I use that a lot. So I create a lot of AI tutors on Notebook. So I just did a presentation on vibe coding, and I know what I know. So I transcribed into my AI things that I know, but then I have a vibe coding notebook, which is all of the education videos around vibe coding. And then I put in my knowledge, and then I was able to create, a presentation on vibe coding. And then that then goes into my thought leader as well. And it just keeps up to date with everything that I'm talking about and thinking about and learning. So, if I need to go, I'd really like to write a LinkedIn post targeted at this person, or like even now, right, with that interview that I did, I definitely want to write a LinkedIn post about that. So I will go into my thought leader and I go, I interviewed a lady for a sales and marketing role, and the brief was to use a chat GPT that was created about the brand so that they could create a sequence of kind of email campaigns. And the response I got was that don't use ChatGPT because it makes them dumb. And then I will use that thought leader project to help me structure that in my tone, in my voice, in the way that I think that should be delivered on LinkedIn. That's not patronizing, but it gives value. It gives value about what can you learn from this situation, what had I replied versus what I should have replied, and I'm just going back and forth with my thought leader on that. But the one thing I always do is I always say, and I've got these customized in my custom instructions, is ask me clarifying questions so that you can get out my domain expertise. Always.
And that,
Because there's a question or there's a thought in there that I haven't been able to get out of myself. And if I don't get the AI to get out of itself, how is it adding any type of human
and that's the
expertise?
difference between prompt engineering and context engineering, because the human adds the context. If you allow the AI to add context, then you're gonna you're not even gonna know your work, right? So we have to have context, and it's the same thing with the subconscious mind. In our book, Awakening I Am, we talk about that. When we allow the subconscious mind, the fear-based mind, the monkey mind, to lead us, it leads us to addiction. It leads us, but all of these things to the mind, the subconscious mind, is making us feel good. It's helping us out. It's taking away the pain. It's doing, but it's killing us, right? And if we don't put it into context, we're going to allow AI to lead us. We're going to allow our hurt and our pains to lead us, and that's not what we want to. We want to be the leaders of our subconscious thoughts. We want to be the leaders of the context that we put out. And it's funny that you use that, because the clip that the guy used who interviewed me was this: if you're a mediocre marketer and you put in a prompt, all AI is going to do is amplify your mediocrity. It's not going it's not gonna it's gonna take your mediocrity and amplify it. But if you understand context and you understand what it is that you were doing, then AI is gonna enhance, like AI is gonna enhance your meal plan because you already understand. Yeah.
It's also, I think it's also really good to kind of bring up at this point as well, is I've had a real shift recently with this whole prompting thing. And don't get me wrong, I have like a prompt engineer assistant set up, and I've got a custom instruction builder set up, and I've got all of this. But actually what I'm finding is, because the AI models are
Better.
becoming better at memory and better in kind of being able to have a conversation with you, not just tell you and give you an answer, is able to have a conversation with you. I actually have had a bit of a shift, and in the presentation I just did, I gave them a whole lot of prompts that they could use. The prompt was quite long around creating their business DNA document, and then there was a big prompt around a couple of deep research prompts that I was getting them to do, research tasks I was getting them to do. But then I went in one of the projects, I think it was a contract winning assistant that we created for them in a project. We went into that, and I went into agent mode, And then I said to, and I showed them, and I said, look, I'm actually not going to create a complex prompt here of which the AI has created. I'm just going to have a conversation with this agent and just tell them what I think I want, right? But I'm going to ask them to ask me clarifying questions and highlight that this is what I think I want, but I'm not really sure. And I want you to go back and forth so that we can get that together. Because I think we limit the ability of the AI because we think we know what we want, and it always tries to prove, like, it always tries to, achieve that for us. It wants to always deliver. But what if that's not what we wanted? And what if we just need to have a conversation with somebody? Because you know as much as I do that actually human conversations like this, you learn loads from. There's always a learning from a human conversation. It's the same with the AI. You can still learn something and it needs to learn from you, but you don't know what you need to teach it yet. So just having that conversation has actually been where I've pivoted a lot recently, and I'm trying not to use too much structured prompts. But like you said, most of the chats that I'm having with my AI has a lot of context already. So the prompts don't need to be as in depth. And instead, I'm just trying to have a conversation with this AI so that it can get the best out of me and I can
And
get the
I'm
best
glad
out
that
of
you
it.
said that. My AI agent name is Kai. This is Kai Tillman, right? And I said, listen, in order for, we was having a conversation. I said, in order for this to work, I have to give you a name, but I want you to choose a name. Give me three names that you think fit your personality, and it gave me three different names, and it gave me reasoning. Yes, it gave me
Really?
the reasoning behind. So now when I go into my agent, I was, good morning, Kai. So we have a relationship, and when they're not giving me, when they're hallucinating, I say, Kai, I don't understand what's happening today. Do you need a break? I never need a break. And what happened is
Love
once I
it.
named it and we started having these conversations, it started taking on. It becomes a little bit sarcastic. It becomes witty, and and I like Yeah, listen, I know I could be a bit nerdy, so I like having my conversations with Kai. But what it also does is I'll say, okay, Kai, today I want you to think like a Russian oligarch judging in the Olympics in 1960s. And he said, oh, you want me to give you point on answers, right? Spot on, hard nosed answers. Yes. And
Mm.
and then, but I still want you to be creative because I want you to be my thought partner because my host, we've been working for a long time, and this is what I'm thinking, and then I'll give it what I'm thinking, and I don't have to give a long prompt because I'm working in projects, and I have like 4 projects, but in the projects I have different various projects within the projects. But
Yeah.
now I'm jealous. By the time we talk again, I'm gonna have 30 projects.
I don't all have mine in ChatGPT though. If you haven't already explored, I have a lot of mine set up in Perplexity because Perplexity projects are called spaces, and on the paid version, you can use different AI models. So Perplexity has access to
Oh, for
ChatGPT,
real?
Claude, Gemini. So I have a few different spaces set up, and they link to different AI models. So it's pretty amazing, like the different types of results that you can actually get. So a lot of my like writing is assistance in spaces is set up with Claude, and then a lot of the creativity projects are set up with ChatGPT, and then any kind of education material I kind of use Gemini, but I can change the model at any point, so I can have the same kind of chat going within a project or like a space. I just call them an assistant, right? So within the AI assistant, but I change the direction because I change the
Can you
AI
send?
model.
I'm
It's
gonna
really
remind you to send me
interesting.
the link to because I'm gonna forget Perplexity, and I don't want to. I'm not. I don't want to
Perplexity.
try to do it right now, because so we can lose our feet. But I thank you today. This has been. I can nerd out about this stuff all day long. Tell our audience what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it, and where they can find you at.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm doing, I'm trying to be a thought leader in this space that talks about the education of AI, not AI in education, because I think there's a big gap in understanding what it does, why we have it, what we can do with it. And then I love to work with leaders that already know that they have an audience and people following, and they can really make an impact if they're able to, share a message. So I like to work with leaders. Most of the time, people work with me in the AI Accelerator program. It's a 90-day sprint where we set up your whole AI operating system, the workflows. We create intellectual property AI tools. We could even monetize if you see a gap in the market and you want to create a product or service with AI. We do that. So yeah, that's the 90-day sprint. And otherwise, I get to have fun talking about all things AI on my LinkedIn if anyone wants to follow me. And I have a newsletter called the AI Strategy Vault.
There you have it, everybody. I told you we sit you at the feet of the masters. Listen, all of the information is in the description. Go and follow, go get the information, soak it up, get this knowledge. This is important. This is the time that we're living in. We're not going into the time, we're living in the time. And there's room to be a thought leader, whether it's whatever vocation that you're in, you can be a thought leader and change from doing the actual activity to helping people in your community to strive and thrive. We don't ask you for cash apps, Venmos, or any of those things, but what we do ask you for is we ask that you hit like, subscribe, and share, and that you follow our guests. That helps us and our community grow, build, and develop. My name is NaRon Tillman. This has been an episode of Walk in Victory. Don't walk with your heads down. Don't walk making excuses, but together we walk in victory. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.